that worked out well. Folks, we have Coach Justin Frye on the 20.
Just don't ask about the cat.
I wasn't going to. I'll ask you about Tegra.
There we go.
Ryan just said that he didn't name a starter, but he said Tegra's going to play. He's earned that with the way he's performing. What have you seen out of him and the jump that he's making?
I think his confidence in how he's playing. You know, once again, like as you get older as a lineman, the game slows down. I think it's really starting to slow down for him. Using his physicality, using his size, using his strength has been showing up a lot. And so, yeah, he's been getting thrust in there. And the beautiful thing about this place, as always, is the guys he's going across with, Tyleek and Ty and Hayro. And I mean, we've got some dudes over there that are showing up. And so when you're practicing, you're getting real reps. And so you can examine the good and the bad and what happens. You know, why did it work, and keep doing it? And when you get beat or you give something up, why did that happen as well? And when he's been thrust in there, like he hasn't backed down, and he's doing some good stuff.
Obviously, the con of having a sickness run through your room for a couple of weeks is you don't maybe get to build the continuity you want to build. But what's the best thing that came out of that?
Finding, I think I told you guys through the spring coming out, like felt like we were going to be able to get to 8, maybe 9 guys that you feel like could go in the game and play for us. And so those guys that maybe would have been a little lower, got less reps, started getting those. The second thing that showed up too, I mean, there was at some point now where we had guys double dipping in camp, which you normally don't have. That's a springtime thing in the fall. And it brought out a little callous and toughness of some guys that honestly, like, you'd hoped was there, and we hadn't seen it, and we'd had a chance to see it, you know. And so, yeah, because nobody cares. We got the sickness, we got to practice. Can you go 3 groups? Coach, you got it. We'll figure it out. The guys, they didn't back down from that. And like I said, some of those young guys, you know, getting multi-position flex reps, that's all positive. Yeah, you'd like continuity. You'd like to know, here's the 5 and here's what we're going with. We just didn't have that luxury, and right now that was okay.
You got George Fitzpatrick on the goal line.
Right now?
Yeah, solid working to that number right now for sure.
What more, as far as the right guard spot, Tegra's going to play, what more do you need to see to finalize, maybe like who's going to start there? What do you, in the next like 9 days or so?
I think consistency from whoever's in that spot. The riding the roller coaster of like you do something really well and then the next play something else shows up and it's like, ugh, where'd that come from? So getting those out, but then also being able to still throw in Carson and throw in Luke and have Austin slide over and play some stuff too. I mean, that's where I said, you know, back to the original question, like that's really built some confidence and, you know, who can go grab it and hold on and be the guy, but we got a lot of guys that are fighting right there.
Justin, I asked Ryan this a week ago. Is the third tackle maybe Tegra? Because you guys have more depth seemingly on the interior than on the edge. Is that off base? How do you view that?
Yeah, no, I think because of the sickness, because of what's went on, I mean, George and Zinue have played their best football of their career since I've been here. So the same deal. That's why you say you start building depth and looking at those guys like they've put in real reps and gotten real reps versus real guys to where, I mean, a guy like George, like he's going into year 3. We all want it now. That's maybe not the case all the time. So for him to get those real reps and show up. So, no, I think we've built depth at the tackle. Like I said, I'm naming those guys. We've even had Ian Moore's had to run out there and play some 2 reps. Look pretty good for a guy that's not even been here a year. So I think the positive of that has been, you know, it's been visible.
How different is that from what you guys went through last year where
we had
you had one of your starting guards was the backup tackle, one of your backup. How different is that this year? What is that feeling like for you to see these guys develop? You know, what a year can
Well, I think it's not for me, it's for them. Like those young guys, like you said, like you got a guy like Tegra, like he's put in a lot of time and a lot of work, changed his body, done some stuff. Carson got here at, you know, 255, 259, and now he's a 300-pound guy, and he's a 12-game starter under his belt, and he's battling and playing and doing some things. So I think for them, when it starts bearing a little fruit of the things that you do tell them when you're coaching them, like if you work this technique, you work this fit, you work this communication, then this is going to show, you know. And so from a coaching standpoint, yeah, it feels a lot better when you're not looking around like, oh, hell, you put your right hand down now. Now, like I said, we had the sickness going back around, and it was, hey, just slide out, slide in. Hey, you're gonna 2 platoon and go both guards today. You got it, coach. And that was good for both parties. As a coach, where we could still practice, and then for the kids, getting really good reps that way.
This unit's taking some criticism. Is there a way you can work that to your advantage? Sort of psychology. I mean,
Yeah,
Donovan
just
was like he didn't want to talk.
yeah, just flip the calendar of an offensive line unit anywhere. You're going to take the criticism. I think the maturity of these guys is probably what sounded or showed with Donovan. I wasn't over there, but like,
He had to hold his tongue.
okay, that's our position. That's who we are. That's when you want to coach this position or play this position. Like, you know, you're going to take those. So I think the maturity and the growth of those guys, understanding what they need to do, why they need to do it, is going to pay dividends when we get on the field and start playing in the games.
What do you want to see differently from last year if you had to name one thing?
We're playing more and continue to play more like linemen and not lines on a page. I think as young guys and new guys you get in, you're kind of like, all right, who do I have? Oh, I got Berm. Okay, I'm going to go get the Berm. Right? Right. No, blocking you. I'd want to block
He's not
you.
a good passer
You're right. I'd
either.
want to block him, right?
You can block
Okay.
him even with your banged up leg.
Okay, good.
Thanks, guys. But just trying to not screw it up or get there, figuring it out, schematically or whatever. Or now the ownership and, all right, we're going to Berman. This is how we're getting here, and this is the technique I'm using. That's showing up a lot more with the guys. And like I said, that starts bearing fruit because you're not blocking a pop-up dummy. Like we do pods, we do individual with Larry's guys, and you got good on good. And it's showing, and that's the positive, to where as a coach now I'm sitting here feeling like, yeah, feeling better about it because we're doing it, and they're doing it because they understand it, and they're not just saying, I'm a line on the page, I got to go block the nose guard.
You mentioned Larry's guys. How much is it almost shining a light when you see a weakness on your line going against those guys? I would think it would expose it pretty well. You can get a good read on what you have.
Yeah, it's another proof, though, of when you're in a matchup game. Ryan talks about this all the time. Like, it's you versus you. If you don't take the right step, if you don't communicate or get the right fit to the right identification, then really good teams or really good players are going to take advantage of that if you give them something that way. So you're playing you. So for us, to answer your question, yeah, the expose, like, why did I get beat right there? Did he beat me or did I give it to him and he took it? And then Larry's guys can do the same. We get whatever the technique may be on a zone play or a gap play or whatever it may be, and we hit something big, he can watch it and say, hey, did you miss their fit? Did they miss their hands? So that, that good on good that we're getting to go is going to expose a lot of things, not necessarily of how good you are, but when you don't play as good as you are, if that makes sense.
Hey Justin, this might be too general of a question, but how have you seen your, recruiting approach, recruiting pitch mold change over the course of your time?
It's still all about, in my mind, in our mind, like the evaluation. Like you have to be a guy that can come here and grow and perform and play. The changing has really been with the NIL landscape. And so figuring out what that piece really is, how vested and how far you have to be in that, what's their priorities. So I think that's going to be a fluid thing. But at the end of the day, like, I sound boring and cliche, right? But like if a kid loves football, wants to be great, wants to get developed, wants to be around and play against Larry's guys and those guys in practice, and we feel like we've evaluated them through camp or through tape and we've offered those guys, then we want to go get those guys. Is that 40? Is that 60? Is that 90? I mean, that's off our evaluation of what we have. So from the game of football hasn't changed. Recruiting changed, yeah, and all that, but you still got to take guys that you can go and develop because that day one ready-made guy in the offensive line set, point him out if you find him for me. You know what I mean? Because they're few and far between.
You had a roster full with, 5 stars, wide receiver, quarterback, corner, wherever. And it seems like there's been a little bit of a struggle to get those top guys, to secure those top guys. Do you feel like your approach with NIL as a part of it, do you feel like it's working? Do you feel like the pitch that Ohio State did?
Yeah, because we're not done yet. I mean, keep your head on a swivel here. December's a long way away, and the weekend's coming up soon, and, where guys are, where they're getting recruited, what position before. I mean, that's what we have to do. That's my job. That's coach's job as we go together, is like evaluating guys that we feel can come here and develop and play and help us to continue to win. And so, yeah, stars matter, sure. My wife could point out and look like, that's a 5-star. That's a really good guy, right? But as I said, that pool of linemen is not as big as some of the others. Doesn't mean we shouldn't go get them. It doesn't mean we're not working to go get those guys. And like I said, doesn't mean that we're done either. Right? It's a long way to December too. So
How do you turn this into
Couple more
a
questions, folks.
destination spot? Does one superstar guy that ends up going to the NFL, is that big start a pipeline, or is it hard to really get this to be a place where, you're getting those guys you absolutely want?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just look at the recent history all the way through, or all the stickers on the wall in there. I mean, yeah, we had Paris. He was your national 5-star guy, right? But then we had two other draft picks there that DeJuan wasn't a 5-star guy, right? Luke wasn't a 5-star guy. They're good players, and they got developed. Those guys before I got here, all the guys on the wall. I mean, yeah, you'd love to go get all of those guys, but do they fit the next up round guys of the 4-star guys? Are they really a 4-star? Do they really fit? Do they really want to do that? From a pipeline, though, no, you just look on the wall in the room, and you've seen all those guys that have come from all different levels.
Justin, where do you see?
Evaluation now, when you're dealing with so many people wanting to hear before they've even played a game as a junior, I need an offer from Ohio State. Like, it seems like the process has just kind of lost its way of being about evaluation, right? And it's about attention in a lot of cases. But how much harder does that make it for you when you're looking at a kid who's got the size that you're looking for, but maybe the film isn't there, maybe the camp performance doesn't look well. How do you get him to understand?
Yeah, I think you got to feel through the relationship with the kid, maybe the relationship with the coach, and just being frank and honest with them. I mean, I'm not smart enough to tell this guy one thing, this guy the other, and circle back, and then all of a sudden you come back and it's like, what was the message you gave here? Just trying to be as straight and communicative as you can. I still don't think, though, you get into early junior year, first 2 or 3 games, which we're going to do on guys that we felt like were right there and needed to see. That's when the next wave of offers and recruiting stuff goes into. If a kid's just looking for a check mark on the internet, yeah, I've probably failed at that my entire career early on until you know that they're a Buckeye.
To be clear, you said I'm not a pop-up dummy, and I just want to get a quote.
You? I would love to block you, Berm.
With one leg or both?
Justin, where does? I'm trying to get one more serious thing in here.
Gotcha.
You got 3 guys on the left side.
Last
that
question for
all-
Coach.
That all have 20-plus starts. You've got Josh, who's Fryer, who's got I think 15 now. Then you've got one who's either going to have 12 or have none.
Mhm.
Where does that experience show up when you're watching day to day, down to down, play to play, evaluating?
It could depend on the day. Like you're in the doldrums and the grind of camp, practice 12, 13, 14. That veteran guy that kind of grabs the guys like, fellas, we've been here, let's go. This is a little tough. We got to pick it up. We got to go. Could be in a situational deal, Spence, where it's like, hey, we're going to third down period. Well, it's not just another play. Hey, it's just third down now. They're coming over the walls. They're blitzing. Watch the picks. Watch the twists, whatever the patterns may be. And I think it'll show then in the games when we hit the first real adversity through whatever game or whatever quarter or whatever drive that shows up. Then that's the next time it'll show up because they've, as you said, there's gamesmanship there. They've been in that and they know now. It's not the first time like, whoa, what's happening? It's, hey, this is happening. Here's how we get through it.
The hindsight is super 2020 with this, but like, is that something that you think that you guys were just kind of missing last year with a brand new center and 2 new tackles and, you obviously had Donnie, but like, do you think that you were missing a little bit of that? Get your ass in gear, let's go.
Yeah, you just have a veteran experienced guys, I mean, you had Matt there who played a lot of ball. You had Donnie who was coming into it, but then, yeah, you're replacing him with 3 new guys. One coming from across the country and the other 2 guys that were coming into it. So, yeah, I mean, experience helps a ton. And what's experience? You just said it. I've started this many games, which means he's played this many 1,000 reps. I've started this many games. I've had this many reps in the red zone or this many in a whatever situation it may be.
Justin
Coach thing.
Simmons, like him being here for
Last one. Jerry's eyeing me.
All
here.
right, 15 more. No, last one.
where have you seen Josh grow over the past year now that he's
Which one?
Yeah, right. It's like 30 Joshes and Simmons.
I think the game for him has slowed down just in the verbiage and the communication part. It's the same, like he trying to be a line on a page and knowing what was the call and how am I getting there to now the next phase of like, I have him, but I may need to make this call because I might have a combo or something there. So I just think the reps with him, being in the system, being in the techniques and the things and the toolbox he's built has allowed him to use his skill set, which is really high.
You mentioned Paris and DeJuan as guys, but obviously the other guys also work with him too. With Joshua Simmons, can his development here also be a recruiting pitch of that's a guy who came here from San Diego State and looked
absolutely.
one way and now where he
Yeah. Yeah, there's all different types of stories. I mean, you get a guy that comes from far away, out of state, and buys in and bites in and develops and goes on and I mean, yeah, if he's walking across the stage or he's getting his name called, then yeah, he's the next sticker on the wall in the O-line room, and that's the next guy looking and saying, we've done it with this guy, we've done it with this guy, and everybody's story's a little different, but they all got to where they wanted to go.
Ben, I'm going to put you right
How
here.
much
Coach, thank
senior
you.